on the spot.
I like the head turn.
It's nice. It's a good look. It's a good look for you, MJ.
Yeah.
Here is how the segment works.
Montages.
You do. Here's how the segment works. We're actually doing it a little bit different today. We are going to make a statement, and Johnny has to argue that statement, whether he agrees with it or not. He just has to argue that point.
Yeah.
So Johnny's going to do that. EJ, you can just respond however you want.
However I want.
But Johnny is going to be put on the spot. So here is the first statement, because Mike Johnson is a very good arguer. This is where this is born.
Exactly.
Taylor Hall was the best trade acquisition in the East.
How many other former MVPs were traded? I'm thinking none. So, yeah, he's the best trade acquisition in the East and probably the entire NHL because of what he can do and the fit and how perfect it looks like it should be in Boston. Second line with good players on a good team with good structure, everything he's been craving. And don't let the 2 goals at 2.3 shooting percentage fool you. Yes, he's not going to score 40 or 30 anymore, but he drives play, still puts up a lot of assists, and can help tilt the ice. He's still a dynamic offensive player who's just been snake bitten for like a year and a half. So I think if that goes away, he's the best player. He's Taylor Hall, a former MVP. Who else could be better, EJ?
I'll tell you, that's some snake bite.
That's a cobra.
I mean, you better find an antidote to that snake bite. Year and a half or longer. Ow! I'll tell you, stay away from that one. I would say this, you know, I know that he's a little longer in the tooth, but Jeff Carter, now he's had a pretty bad snake bite as well, but he won 2 Stanley Cups, so, you know, if he's feeling up to it, maybe he can be helpful for the Penguins. But I tend to agree with you because Taylor Hall is just a good fit in Boston.
Yeah, that was good. That was well played by you.
Ow.
I'm still trying not to.
Yeah.
Some snake bite.
Hope we never see that snake, I'll tell you.
We'll see if he's cured out in Boston. Okay, statement number 2. Nick Foligno is the piece to get the Maple Leafs to a Stanley Cup final. That's your argument.
What the Leafs have been lacking in years past has been in those big moments, in those Game 7, someone to step up and be accountable and be excellent and have a moment and not be scared of it, not shy away. That's Nick Foligno. That's him in his entire career. That's his dad when his dad played for the Leafs in his career. It's a family legacy, Foligno's and the Leafs. They needed a little more defensive responsibility in the wings. Check. They need a guy who can take faceoffs and play on the 3rd line. Check. Maybe slide up and play the top 2 lines. He can do that as well. He's exactly what they've been missing. The kind of grit and jam to get through those tight games. They're going to be tight games, even though Toronto's an excellent team. At some point in that first round, there's going to be a tight game, and a player like Nick Foligno. That's why they went out and got him here, is exactly the kind of player that will get them through those moments and then let the skilled players do their thing. But in those tight moments, EJ, that's when Foligno's going to shine.
Listen, I don't disagree with that. You know, Jackie, we've talked about it. I thought Nick Foligno would be maybe even a better fit for the Islanders because of the way he plays and they play. But I agree with you, Mike, that he will help them in all those big moments. Areas maybe that they've lacked in the past when push comes to shove, so to speak. And we saw it against Nick Foligno and the Columbus Blue Jackets last year in the playoffs. So maybe he will be that piece.
Well, yeah, what did we hear from Mitch Marner in the postseason? We weren't hard enough to play against. Well, Nick Foligno is hard to play against.
Yes, he is.
And they know that from facing him. But there is a parallel, too, I think, from this acquisition to Tampa, adding Coleman and Gaudreau. It seems like a similar addition to the lineup. I would say I think Foligno is the piece to help the team win their first playoff round in forever, what feels like forever. Yeah. But to get to the final, I mean,
it's a
you
long
might have to
stretch.
get through Tampa.
Like
so
if they could have acquired Vasilevsky. Now that would have been the acquisition to get him to the final, but apparently he wasn't available.
Yes, exactly. All right, next statement. The Panthers' trades at the deadline will win them the Central Division. Johnny, make the case.
They're only 2 points back. They're right there. And when the schedule's this compressed, anything can happen. So you think about Montour on defense. You have Duclair coming back healthy. You got Nikita Gusev. Don't sleep on Gusev. And playoff Sam, Yosemite Sam, is going to get it done up front. They've added a whole bunch of new bodies. And I think that because Tampa and Carolina are going to be so focused on each other, and every team that plays Tampa and Carolina be so focused on these 2 great teams, that Florida can just kind of slide under the radar and make it happen. They got two goalies playing well that can handle the workload down the stretch, and they play Tampa tough. So it's not like they're going to get run over by Tampa or Carolina. They play those top teams tough. So I think these additions and the home stretch, they'll be able to get it done.
All right, the old anything can happen defense. Well, it's close. Anything can happen. No, I think they help, those additions. I just don't know if at the end of the day, Johnny, they're just as good as the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Carolina Hurricanes. The additions
They're
help
not.
for sure. Yeah, that's with a fair point by you. The additions help. It's just, and then let's face it, you can't replace Aaron Ekblad, so that's a big loss for them. I think a lot will depend upon how their goalies play, quite frankly. I mean, Bobrovsky has been better. Driedger's been good most of the year.
But also, I think, too, and I hate to do this with still 15, 16 games left.
But go ahead.
Who are you playing down the stretch? Are you getting the job done? Because Carolina did not get the job done against the Red Wings last night.
Correct.
You could say, it's one game, it's whatever, and like Carolina's, playoff life is not in jeopardy. But those things matter. I think that's why we heard Rod Brindamore say the things that he said last night. Because at this time of year, down the stretch, first place in that division, it matters. And if Carolina misses it by 2 points because they couldn't beat the Red Wings, well, there it is.
Well, Tampa has lost to the Red Wings, too. I think Florida has lost to the Red Wings. These are the things that happen. These games, at the end of the day, they're playing a lot of games. Johnny, I would ask you this because I want to give a big shout out to the players in particular in this case because I just think this has been so difficult, more than I even thought. As the season has gone on, I watched games some night, and you could see the fatigue with some of these guys right now. This has been a real challenge. I give them all a lot of credit for battling through this.
Guys are grinding, both physically, of course, trying to play every night,
Yeah.
but mentally, emotionally. Like with all that's going on in the league, in the world, in their lives away from the rink, to try to ramp it up and find that juice every night, it's not easy. And they've done a pretty good job, more nights than not, playing like it's a normal season because it's anything but.
Yeah, we heard Owen Newkirk talking about the Stars and their schedule, right? It's like 4 games a week, every week, back-to-back on the weekends. Like, they're a little bit more condensed because of the things that have happened around their season, but it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
And so for the teams that make the playoffs, it's gonna take a lot to get to the Stanley Cup final and actually win this thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that battle between Dallas and Nashville, like just what Owen said, I didn't even take that into account. The fact that Dallas I forgot they have this crazy schedule. Boy, it's just going to be tough.